Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping into some wild new technology that's completely flipping the script on how we build digital worlds. Let's get right to it. So I want you to picture this. You take just a few photos on your phone, and almost instantly you have a completely explorable, photorealistic 3D version of that exact spot. What if we could capture our world, perfectly in the blink of an eye? For a long, long time, this was pure science fiction, but a brand new technique is making it very, very real. Now, the engine behind this whole revolution is a method called 3D Gaussian splatting. So instead of building scenes with polygons, like in a video game, this technique thinks about a 3D space as millions of tiny, colorful, kinda see-through dots, or splats. It's incredibly fast, the results look unbelievably real, but yeah, there's a pretty big catch. You see, the whole challenge here has always been this frustrating trade-off. On one side, you've got these optimization methods. They give you absolutely gorgeous, high-quality results. But man, are they slow. We're talking minutes, sometimes even hours, for just one scene. And on the other side, you have feed-forward models. They're super fast, but the quality has always been a little meh. And they really start to struggle if you give them too many pictures to work with. So the whole thing really boils down to computational cost. Trying to get a model to look at every single pixel from every single photo, all at the same time, just to figure out how they all relate in 3D space, well, it's a total computational nightmare. The complexity just explodes, especially when you're dealing with high-res images or a bunch of different camera angles. Which, of course, brings us to the big question. How do we finally break this cycle? How do we get that incredible speed of the fast models, but with the jaw-dropping quality of the slow ones? And here's our answer. Meet iLRM. It stands for Iterative Large Reconstruction Model, and it's a new approach from a recent research paper that was built from the ground up to solve this exact problem. The best way to think about iLRM is to imagine an artist. It doesn't try to paint this perfect masterpiece in one go. Nope. It starts with a really rough sketch of the 3D scene. And then, layer by layer, it keeps adding more detail, more refinement, until this photorealistic image just emerges. It's like having a feedback loop built right into the model itself. iLRM's magic really comes down to three brilliant ideas. This is its secret sauce. First, it separates the 3D model from the input photos. Second, it uses a super clever two-stage attention system. And third, like we just said, is that iterative refinement. All right, let's break these down. Okay, first up, decoupling. Now, to get why this is such a big deal, think about this. Older methods would often create one splat for every single pixel in the photos. If you've got 20 high-res photos, you could end up with 200 million splats. It's insane. iLRM avoids this mess by totally separating the 3D model from the photos, letting it build a much smaller, more compact model, while still using all that rich detail from the images as a guide. Now, to get the next innovation, you gotta look at the old way. In a lot of previous models, every little piece of information from every photo tries to talk to every other piece of information all at once. It creates this massive computational traffic jam. The cost just skyrockets, making it basically impossible to scale up. iLRM dodges that traffic jam with a brilliant two-stage attention system. So instead of this chaotic free-for-all, it's a smart two-step process. First, it processes each photo on its own, really efficiently. Then, it brings all that information together globally. It's just a much more elegant and, frankly, more scalable way to share information. And the result of this design? It's absolutely staggering. Compared to that old brute force method, iLRM system slashes the computational cost to just 8% of the original. That's not a small tweak. That's a fundamental breakthrough in efficiency. It's kind of like going from trying to read an entire library to just reading the chapter summaries to understand the book. Okay, so the theory is super elegant. The design is really clever. But the most important question is still on the table. Does it actually work in the real world? Let's take a look at the results. So here's a head-to-head comparison. The quality score, PSNR, where higher is better, you can see iLRM is clearly ahead. At the same time, look at the speed. Just 0.028 seconds. That is less than half the time of a major competitor, depth splat. So the answer is a huge yes. It's both higher quality and way, way faster. I mean, numbers are one thing, but seeing is believing, right? On the left, that's the iLRM result. Just look at the sharp details on the building, the definition in the trees. Now look at the depth splat result on the right. You immediately see these blurry artifacts, this general fuzziness. It's almost like you're looking through a smudged camera lens. The difference is night and day. And it's the same story here in this high-res shot. The iLRM result on the left nails those crisp reflections in the glass and the solid lines of the building. But the competitor on the right, it really struggles with those details. You get this hazy, almost dreamlike image that just doesn't feel real. iLRM's quality is just on another level. The researchers found that on average, iLRM boosts the reconstruction quality by about 3 decibels on the PSNR scale. Now, if you're not familiar with image quality metrics, let me tell you, a 3 dB gain isn't just a small bump. It is a massive, very noticeable improvement in how good the image looks. It's a huge leap forward. And let's not forget about speed. At only 28 milliseconds for a scene, iLRM is more than twice as fast as its main rival. So you're getting that huge boost in quality in less than half the time. It really is the holy grail we've been looking for. Better, faster, and smarter. But maybe the most important thing is what this quote from the paper gets at: scalability. Because iLRM is so efficient, it can actually handle more photos to build the scene without getting all bogged down. Where other models just hit a wall, iLRM takes that extra info and uses it to make the results even better. It just scales beautifully. And this all brings us back to that artist analogy. This is literally what that refinement process looks like inside the model. It starts out as this noisy, almost random cloud of dots. Then, layer by layer, you see basic shapes and colors start to pop out. Then the details get sharper, until finally, after 12 layers of work, the finished, photorealistic scene is there. So if we sum it all up, iLRM just wins across the board. You get a massive boost in speed, a huge leap in quality, and it's all built on a foundation that is fundamentally more scalable, one that can use more data to create better and better digital worlds. So why does any of this matter to you? Well, it means we are right on the edge of being able to instantly capture our world in 3D. This is going to mean way higher quality assets for video games, for movies, for VR. It's a huge step towards creating digital twins, real-time virtual copies of entire factories or even cities. And maybe most exciting, it just lowers the barrier for anyone to create amazing 3D content. Just look at this gallery of scenes that iLRM put together. You've got outdoor landscapes, complex rooms. Its ability to create these high-fidelity results in so many different environments is just incredible. This isn't some niche tool for one specific job. It's a general-purpose reality capture engine. And this brings us to one final, really exciting thought. For decades, making realistic 3D worlds was this slow, super expensive thing that only experts could do. Now, that barrier is just being completely shattered. So the question isn't if we can capture reality anymore. The question is, now that we can do it almost instantly, what new worlds are we going to create?